and welcome to Label Sessions Presents, the podcast where we talk to the most interesting people about all the things you need to know in the world of innovation, business, design, tech, and culture. I'm Fuzlin Esau. Today, we're joined by three brand new label mates, new experts to the Label Sessions network, as well as Josh Nixon from the Label Sessions team. Welcome to Jimmy Barber. Jimmy is a transformation expert with a calm head and a sharp toolkit. He's best known for stepping into messy, high-pressure situations and getting results. And also, hello and welcome to David Wadler. David is a founder turned angel investor who's done the hard graft of building and exiting a startup and now devotes his time to helping others do it better. And also a big welcome to Janis Jacobs. Janis is an executive producer who thrives in the chaos of commercials, shoots, music videos, and tight turnarounds, getting the job done without losing the creative edge. So the world is becoming more unpredictable, which has become a big problem for leaders responsible for things like supply chains. But are there opportunities that we can spot in and amongst the chaos? So industry observers are saying it could be a very good time to be running or investing in insurance companies. We know from the Label Session side that all kinds of companies are really reviewing how their businesses run right now. So where might smart businesses and entrepreneurs spot the opportunity to help? And I think, Jimmy, this is sort of a great question for you to kick off.
Yeah, I think, you're right. In an unpredictable world, you look for certainty. I guess one of the things that it's a little bit dull, but in an uncertain world, investing more time in contingency planning or scenario planning for what could go wrong and what could change is something, to be honest, that I've never particularly enjoyed. But in working in one organization that had to always deal with the unexpected, and the unexpected could be massive, I realized and learnt the value of thinking ahead about what could go wrong and planning for it, rather than when it goes wrong in the heat of battle, trying to solve problems. Often then you'd make suboptimal decisions. So I think there's a lot more, be more thoughtful and intentional about what you're trying to do. I mean, you mentioned insurance companies, and I did work with quite a lot with insurance companies, and I have to be honest, my opinion would be slightly jaundiced because I dealt with insurance companies that went bust, and I ended up running about a dozen of them. So I don't necessarily have the most positive view of that, but I think insurance companies in the UK are a great opportunity to improve and optimize their performance. They tend to be, some of them are very large, and so they have massive scale, and so they can ride out some of the challenges. But even though those are struggling with supply chains, and I think the other thing I would probably pick out about supply chains is work with your suppliers as partners rather than suppliers. Work together to try and solve some of the problems, and they'll help you in terms of their capability or what they see happening more widely in the market, rather than just having transactional relationships with your supply chain, which is what a lot of organizations do. So I wouldn't give investment advice, but insurance companies wouldn't be the first place where I'd go and put my pound, to be honest.
David, you're in the US, and obviously a lot of these supply chain uncertainties are kind of coming out of the US.
Yes.
What is your opinion on this?
Gardening. We all need to start gardening and growing our own fruits and vegetables. It's an interesting question. Going back to the first point that you raised about insurance being a potentially interesting thing, just speaking from the U.S., United Healthcare, which is the largest health insurer in the U.S., has lost 50% value in the last month, which is, and this is mega cap stock. So it's hundreds of millions of dollars in market capitalization lost. In the state of Florida, many of the insurance providers are pulling out of the home insurance market because of climate change. The costs to insure these homes got so high that people stopped doing it, stopped insuring, and then you get this kind of vicious cycle we're seeing similar sorts of things happen. There was horrible fires in California in the Pacific Palisades. Insurance to me seems like a very uncertain and fraught industry. More broadly with supply chain in the U.S., I don't know. I'm very concerned about not just the U.S. economy, but because it is so large, the knock-on effects of the global economy. Supply chain resiliency is not something that companies spend a lot of time on. That became apparent during COVID. I don't think that we necessarily learned our lesson, global pandemic or self-induced recession. Either way, there are supply chain implications, and this idea that we're going to, certainly in the U.S., sort of reduce China's influence and bring back domestic manufacturing or move things to Vietnam. All these things take years, and I think we are absolutely underinvested. So are there opportunities? 100%. Are these short-term opportunities? Probably not. And I don't have the domain expertise to make good bets on winners and losers.
I think an interesting word you said there was resilience, and this has come up a few times in this podcast. We've touched on sort of resilience in infrastructure and resilience in supply chain, resilience in procurement, and it feels like 2025 is the year of companies sort of looking at things in how do we make ourselves more resilient? How do we protect ourselves from the big blackout that's coming? How do we protect ourselves from if the supply chains get cut off? So I think it's really exactly what you said, and also what Jimmy said in terms of sort of really looking at how do you build in resilience from the beginning instead of having to sort of scamper around at the end of or when things start actually happening.
That's a great point. Much easier to plan than just to react.
100%.